Captain's log, stardate 101.5. The Monarch is currently on course for Starbase 211. While in transit, the crew is undergoing some rotations and shifts around the different departments. I have ordered some readiness drills during this downtime, but in the meanwhile, I will be working with Dr. Blockwell on a side project. While I am hopeful, my first officer will endeavor the crew on the readiness drills, as well as hopefully engage in potentially a commander test soon. End log. As I said, short.
Yep, short and sweet. So I plan this episode to be more of a role play style. So I will open up the floor to wherever you guys want to go, whatever you guys want to do. I leave it in your capable hands.
I say we could start off from the ready room with myself and Degrass.
You want the grass outside or in?
I'd just say he came through the door at that point.
Perfect.
Captain, to what do I owe this pleasure of your time?
Not too much, Commander. I was hoping I'd have a bit of word with you.
Of course. What's going on?
Well, as you know, our current course to Starbase 211, I would like you to run some readiness drills aboard the ship. Make sure our tactical and everything is, and of course our engineering departments are all in tip-top shape.
Of course. You've got it, Captain.
Another thing is, I was looking at some of these replacements that you put forward for your position. I really do like this lieutenant junior grade Nidan. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, is your character male or female?
Is that directed at me?
Yes, that's directed at you.
Female.
We're on the Trill colony of Monarch.
We are.
That was totally unintentional.
Invasion of the Trills, man.
And you just missed the Trill heavy episodes too.
Can't read any of your minds.
Yes, Captain. Yeah, Lieutenant Junior grade. Nidan is an excellent pick. She, by all accounts, has demonstrated extremely high potential and has really made a word for herself around the science function within Starfleet. I think she would be an excellent pick.
Good. I'd like you to fill her in. I very much would like you to take your place as first officer. I think the dual task roles that you've been performing have been adequate, but I think your place as first officer on board the ship takes higher priority than you doing a dual role on board this vessel.
Thank you, Captain. I understand, and just between you and me, it's had a few long days doing both tasks, so I'm excited to be taking on the XO role full time.
And on that, I would like you to take the commander's test as soon as possible.
Of course. Is this something that we can perform at the Starbase?
Of course, we can when we arrive.
Okay.
If you like someone from the Starbase to perform the test. Otherwise, it would be carried out by myself or Counselor Dae.
Well, I I trust that both of you are obviously excellent judges of commandability and character. So I'm open to your thoughts and suggestions on when to perform it. How soon are we talking, Captain?
As soon as we're able to, we'll go ahead and petition for the commander's test, and then we'll get working on the paperwork.
Of course. Permission to go back to the bridge.
Of course.
And as Degrass gets up and starts walking to the door, he's going to turn and just simply say, "Thank you, Captain," and turn and walk out to the bridge.
Captain Prax to Dr. Blackwell.
And Blackwell pauses in putting up some of his few belongings and mementos in his office. Blackwell here, Captain. What can I do for you?
Doctor, I was going to ask you how your patient is doing.
Stable condition. Patient is now awake, still in ICU as per medical necessity and your orders. I've kept him separate from most of the staff here in sick bay, except for pull up my people. Except for Dr. McKenzie and Nurse Renate, and ship's Nurse Renate, and myself.
Very good, Doctor. When you have a moment of your time, I'd like to discuss something with you.
Certainly, I can head up to your ready room if you'd like, or you're welcome to come down here.
I think my ready room would be the most appropriate for this conversation, Doctor.
Understood. On my way. And I will stop what I'm doing and tell Dr. McKenzie she has sick bay, and I'll head up to the ready room.
Okay. Anybody else want to do a quick something before we cut back to?
I'd like to see if I can do something about these 2 structure breaches we have.
Sure. I don't think I have a good engineering yet for this ship.
No, the ship's pretty crappy at engineering.
Still the
you
tiny.
moved it. That's fine. It's retro.
Or I could go with this one.
Oh, they're both pretty retro.
I don't know. Maybe somebody will put a lot in the Monarch chat, and you guys could decide on an engine.
Oh no, the other one I feel like I should be would be wearing a red shirt.
Sure, I can grab some. I have a bunch.
Yeah, just throw them in the Monarch chat, and you guys can start discussing and voting which ones you like. Okay, so we're in the engineering.
All right, so how do I fix a breach?
And we'll actually throw Nate in with you, because I think there's a good opportunity to get some rolls in for you.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm just gonna start making up some tasks for you guys to get used to rolling some dice. Okay, so you guys can pretty much make up whatever you guys want to fix. Feel free to make up technobabble. I think we have a technobabble table you guys get to use. So feel free to role play this while you're doing it. However, the first roll I think I'll have you guys make to start the repair process. I think I'll have you both roll a control engineering difficulty 1 test. Perfect.
Ooh.
Oops. Sorry, that was a mistake on my part. Here's the correct one coming through.
Same roll. Literally the same outcome.
Which is unfortunate.
All right, so the red circle, or if the number's red, that means you achieved a complication. Normally complications can either be bought off with momentum. I could bank it as threats. I can make the complication happen, and then in this case, I think I will. So let me go ahead and. All right, so normally when I have information for you guys, I'll send it to you via a direct message on Discord. So for Nadan, that's the complication.
Okay. Ah, there it is. Okay, well, that's a problem.
You're the only person I send that to. So I send it to you to help to facilitate roleplay. I have you and Marora. I think I said that right finally.
You did.
In engineering, working on the problem together. So feel free to roleplay with Marora.
I think we have a problem here, Lieutenant Commander.
What's wrong?
Well, the dilithium containment is off by 0.03 microns, sir.
All right, so it looks like we might have to reconfigure that. Have you worked on a warp core before, Lieutenant?
Most of my experience in dealing with engineering bays is in cooling systems, sir.
Okay, that's fine. If you want to go ahead and just let's work on reconfiguring this. I will do that. If you can do me a favor and look at the resonating gradient generator and see if that is stable.
Yes, sir, will do.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to have you guys do another task. And this time, one of you gets to assist. And that was good role play for this. So Marora will get the main role, which means that you will roll 2 dice. This will probably be a reason engineering, I think we'll go this time. This will be a difficulty 2, assisted by the lieutenant here. So when you make an assist, you only roll 1 dice. So on the dice roller, you will move the number from 1 to 2 under the task roll.
Other way, from 2 to 1.
Yes. Yeah, from 2 to 1. Hopefully that made sense. Perfect.
Can the ship help?
Possibly in the next one.
So does that mean we have what 1, 2, 3 momentum right now, right?
Yeah.
Seems like the containment is now stable, sir.
Excellent work, Lieutenant. Now if we can just focus on getting we need to intensify the primary positronic phase equalizer. If you go over to the terminals over there, I'm going to point to whoever that person is that's standing there. Yeah, and you can fix it over there.
Sounds good. I'll give it a go, sir.
All right. So this time I'm gonna have you guys do an extended task, so you guys get used to extended tasks. An extended task is like a normal task, except it introduces a concept called work and magnitude. And so I think the best way to explain this is to just kind of do it, because once you start doing it, I think you'll understand it. So I'm gonna make up a task really quick. Okay, so I'm going to make this task a daring engineering task, and I'm going to have you both do this. It's going to be a magnitude 2 task. It's going to have work 8, and it's going to be resistance of. So I'll have Marora go first. But you're both going to be essentially doing the same task.
And it's difficulty 2, I see.
Yes. So you guys have momentum. You could add the threat. Adding 1 dice to momentum will give you an extra dice roll, or an extra dice to roll. And the same if you add to threat, it'll give you also an extra dice to roll, which helps you improve the odds of succeeding.
I think I'm going to spend one of my momentum for an extra dice.
Okay. So that just means putting the task roll to 3 instead of 2. Okay, so that is a success. So when you get a success on an extended task, the next thing that we would do is we would roll challenge dice equal to 2 plus whatever discipline you use. So in this case, you rolled engineering, which is 5, and then we add 2 to that number. So you're going to roll 7 challenge dice. Now the challenge dice on your sheet is just under task roll. It has it'll probably have a 0 in that little box that's next to the Star Trek icon. You're just going to put however many challenge dice you're rolling in there, and then you're going to hit enter, and then you're going to roll the dice. So for Marora, you're going to put 7, hit enter, and then hit the dice roller. 5. Okay, so right now, basically, you have 5 work on there, with a resistance of 1 that will decrease 1 work. So right now you have 4 work. You also have momentum that you can use to either add more work. You could lower the resistance. So you have options.
What was the resistance on this, out of curiosity?
1. So it's not much.
Okay, can I re-roll the zeros?
Yeah, that will cost 1 momentum to do, and you could re-roll 3 dice.
Okay, let me do that. Nice.
All right, so that is actually 8 work, and then it has a resistance of 1, so that's actually going to be 7 work. So right now it's at 7 work. It is a breakthrough. You could spend 1 momentum to get the 8th work, and then you would complete the task.
Well, I do have Miracle Worker. Whenever you use engineering on an extended task, you achieve a breakthrough and roll at least 1 effect on the challenge die. You achieve a second breakthrough.
Perfect. So it's the engineering equivalent to what the good doctor had.
Yeah.
So yes, for your character, you have achieved 2 breakthroughs, and you have completed your task at the work.
Ooh.
So now for Lieutenant, how do you say that last name?
Nadan.
Nadon. All right, so for Lieutenant Nadon, so you're gonna roll. You're gonna do the task roll as well. It's daring engineering. So you could, so like I said, you could add the threat to make to get an extra dice. You could use a momentum.
Given that this is dealing with hull breaches, which, if I recall correctly, are bad things, I'm going to add a momentum.
Okay, so you're gonna spend the momentum to get a third dice.
Okay. And task roll.
All right, perfect. So you got 2 successes. You don't have cautious engineering or anything.
No. No, I don't.
All right, because what cautious engineering or what cautious science does, it allows you to re-roll if you buy a dice using momentum. But I don't think you have either.
No, I've got testing a theory and theory into practice, but these aren't science tests, so they don't apply.
Science or engineering.
All right, cool. So you are actually going to roll 6 challenge dice. So do you see where it says challenge dice on your
Yes.
All right, so where it says 0, you're just going to replace that with the 6, and then you are going to hit enter.
Or tab, then enter.
Perfect.
That is much better than I typically roll, so that's good.
That's better than Marora on his first roll. So right now that is 7. So -1, it'll actually be 6 work. So it'd be 6 work out of the 8. It is a breakthrough. So you did achieve a breakthrough. So the difficulty on this next roll is actually going to be a difficulty of 1.
Sorry, could you repeat that? I couldn't quite hear that last word.
Difficulty of 1.
Okay, sorry. I don't know why it cut out on me. My headphones cut out.
I might have let go of the button early.
Ah.
I do that sometimes.
Okay. So at this point, is it another task roll? Because I don't have anything that lets me increase the number of successes.
Right. Yes. So it will be back to a 2 dice task roll unless you want to add to threat.
I don't really want to add to threat at this point.
Okay. So okay. So yeah, go ahead and roll 2 dice.
Can the ship help?
No, I'm not having the ship assist yet. You're trying to fix the ship.
Yeah. Can I use testing a theory? Actually, because I've done a test on this before, testing a theory comes into play because it can work for engineering or science. I can.
What does that do?
When you attempt a task using engineering or science, you may roll 1 additional d20 so long as you succeed at a previous task covering the same scientific or technological field earlier in the same adventure.
That sounds like it applies to me. So yes, roll.
Perfect.
All right, so you're actually going to bank 2 momentum out of that. Before you roll challenge dice, I am going to spend 4 threat because I got it and probably not going to do anything else with it. I'm going to increase the resistance to 3. So I'm going to subtract 3 off of whatever work you roll for this. So it'll be the same 6 challenge dice.
So I just roll.
Another 7. So that would be minus the 3, which is 4, which will complete the work trek, thus giving you another breakthrough. So you have also succeeded at your engineering task
Great.
and banked 2 momentum to help everyone else. Nicely
Good.
done. All right, so whatever you guys were doing to make me create these rolls, it is successful.
So I was trying to fix one of the 2 breaches. Is that, or both the breaches? Is that done or?
Yeah, I or one of them, and then I'll give you one more good roll.
Okay. So I'd like to try to fix the final breach if possible, unless you want to move on for now.
No, we'll complete this here. So, what I'm gonna introduce the ship for this. So I'm gonna make this a difficulty 4 task. You could get your you could get your assist from Nadon. The ship will assist. I think it'll assist with structure engineering. And I think the attributes I want to use. Let's go control engineering.
Would any of my focuses help? I have starship propulsion, EPS, computers, warp fields.
Let's go ahead and use the warp field.
Okay. And I want to spend one of the momentum to get an extra dice.
Perfect.
Ooh.
All right, so Nadon, you'll roll 1 dice. I don't know if you have any focuses. But I'll give you a cooling system just so you can roll with a focus on this. So where it says focus, it'll say yes or no. You're just going to set it to yes.
Okay.
You might have to click it a few times to actually make it go, because sometimes the sheet's weird.
It's highlighted now, so is that okay?
Yep, that's how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Perfect. And then whoever wants to roll the ship for a structure engine.
I guess I'll roll it.
All right, that's a whole bunch of successes. 4, 5, 6, 7 successes on a difficulty 4. So you guys will bank 3 momentum. And feel free to role play whatever you guys want at this.
All right, Lieutenant, it looks like everything seems to be back up and running. I do appreciate the help.
Thank you, sir. I've never seen that sort of a breach fixed in outside of a dry dock, so I'm impressed, sir.
Well, when you're out here, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and it may not be pretty, but at least it gets done. You know, I know your science, but you know your way around this engine room pretty well. If you ever want to change over, you let me know.
I will take that as a compliment, sir, but I like rocks a little too much for that.
I understand. All right, so is that both breaches fixed, or?
Yeah, generally breaches fix at the end of scenes.
Oh.
This was really just to get you guys a little bit of a crash course into rolling dice. And, you know, to role play a little bit. But generally, like, breaches on the ship are repaired between scenes. Or if they're really bad, between episodes.
Okay. So I guess I'm just going to keep on working and do my thing now.
All right, cool. All right, I think we could probably head back up to the ready room.
Enter.
You wanted to speak with me, Captain?
Yes, Doctor. I do apologize for our conversation the other day regarding your patient, but the only solution I can come up with is to put the individual under protective custody with the Federation Security Council. But he's going to have to come forward with a lot of information about how they got a hold, or the information about the pools, let alone the Nausicaans and the dealings that they had with them.
All right. At this point, he is healthy enough to transport. I mean, he shouldn't be exposed to anything too strenuous for a week or two, but he's well enough to do whatever you need him to do. He was one of the two who were implanted at the last, so his recovery has been honestly, most of his trouble was coming from his body and the symbiote's rejection of him. And so once the symbiote was safely removed, his recovery was rapid.
Understood, Doctor. Just he'll have to come forward with several information.
Begging your pardon, Captain, but isn't this more of a Chief of Security's bailiwick rather than mine?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Isn't fundamentally asking a prisoner to come forth engineering more of the bailiwick of the Chief of Security?
No, Doctor, I want you there as witness.
Oh, certainly, of course.
So I'll be talking with the individual. I'm trying to keep this as low profile as possible, considering the nature of the situation, as well as
Understood.
any information he could come forward could be sensitive.
Understood, Captain. Whenever you'd like to proceed, as I say, the patient is conscious and fully cognizant.
Thank you, Doctor. He is doing well, right? Any adverse effects that I should be aware about?
None physical. His mental and emotional status is another thing. As you can imagine, having become convinced thoroughly that any Trill who wanted to could be successfully joined to a symbiote and then to be rejected by a symbiote. I mean, this is challenging a lot of his fundamental psychological beliefs and political beliefs. So, I mean, he's in no way insane or, he knows the difference between right and wrong. He's, as I say, he's fully competent and fully cognizant, but and physically he's recovering rapidly, but his psychological state is likely to be a bit damaged. And it has, this has been a traumatic experience for him. So he may react from anything from denial to anger against the authorities. He may decide to double down and insist that He wasn't rejected that something else was going on to double down on his belief system, or he may reject it completely and go into some kind of deep depression. There's honestly no telling. I do have the standard Starfleet medical training in psychology and counseling. However, Counselor Dye obviously is the most qualified person to deal with any of these effects. I understand you wanted to keep this as quiet and as possible, so I will do my best. But again, for a true psychological evaluation and help, if necessary, you may have to turn to Dye. But again, I have no idea what his reaction might be when you ask him to reveal any information. My staff and mine's interactions with him have been completely devoted to the medical and the physical.
Understood, Doctor, and thank you.
Sure thing, Captain. I'll be in sick bay whenever you need me.
I'll be down there as soon as I'm able to.
Understood.
I love it. The walking sounds is cool.
Sorry. You should hear my console sounds. Beep, boop, boop.
Counselor Dye, could you please report to the ready room?
She will say, yes, of course, Captain. She says, I'm in the tail end of a counseling session. Do I need to be there immediately?
Not right away. As soon as you're finished, please join me in my ready room.
She will show up there 20 minutes later.
All right, forgot to ask, do you prefer the TNG door or the Voyager chime?
TNG. It's more annoying. The more annoying, the better.
Well,
Am I-
it is practice ready rooms.
They might have a different sound at this point, but I'm going to say probably the Voyager one because that's updated.
Is that an enormous token you have there, Dai, or are you just excited to meet with the captain?
She's excited to meet with the captain.
It's so wrong.
All right.
Enter.
She'll stand it ready in front of the captain, with her hands behind her back.
Counselor, there is currently an individual in sick bay, which is on a need-to-know basis. His current identity needs to remain secret among the crew, so I'm sure patient policy applies in the situation. Do you understand?
Of course, sir.
This individual, as far as the Trill government is concerned, is presumed to be dead. However, there is some information that we need to obtain from him, and he might have lingering emotional trauma from his ordeal.
Is this one of the people involved with the taking of the symbiotes?
Yes, it is, Counselor.
Is this person considered dangerous, or is there any danger to them from anyone in the crew? At
this time, no. They were acting on primarily basis of a political belief that was wrong, to put it bluntly. However, in order to secure his life, if he were to go back into Trill hands, he would most likely be executed.
For his
However,
political views, she says.
for stealing of symbiotes.
She'll straight face the whole thing.
I tend to work with the Federation Security Council to put the man in protective custody, providing that he can provide information on his dealings with the Nausicaans, how he got the shuttle, and other key information on how he got a hold of the location where the symbiotes were kept. I will need you to be present there to analyze while I go through questioning, as well as to assure his mental health.
Is this individual seeking asylum with the Federation?
Don't know yet, Doctor. He may have some information that, with the Nausicaan pirate raids that were happening in the region, that could be vital useful to secure the shipping lanes. And depending on his testimony, as well as the information you get him, it's, sorry, the word escapes me, contingent on whether or not Starfleet and the Security Council deem it worthy to place him in a protective custody status.
But we've given this individual asylum on the ship.
For now. But I cannot hold him against his will, so if he wishes, but if I were to release him from the ship, he will most likely be charged and found guilty on Trillius Prime. It's a very sticky situation, Counselor.
She nods her head and kind of thinks for a second. My evaluations are always confidential with any patient, regardless of their status.
But these evaluations you might have to share with the Security Council, as well as Starfleet Security.
She says, of course, she says, I would share any of that information if it was requested through the proper channels, sir. And in this particular situation, if he or she does seek asylum, she says, I'm sure that they will ask me for that information.
Very well. You will meet me in sickbay within the hour.
Yes, sir.
You're dismissed.
Thank you, sir. She'll walk out.
Lieutenant Casey. Or, sorry. Prax to Lieutenant Casey.
Casey here.
Lieutenant, I'd like 2 security officers to be posted outside the ICU in sickbay.
Of course, Captain, right away.
And that's all I got.
Thank you, Captain. Casey will arrange those officers, send them.
Casey, go ahead and give me a presence command difficulty 1.
No problem. Wait.
Cool. Yes, they follow your orders exactly.
Awesome. I would hope so.
As I completely close my internet browser. Yay.
I hate it when I do that in the middle of a game when I'm running one.
You said diff 1, right?
Yeah. So you bank up momentum.
What momentum are we at? I think I lost count.
4?
5.
5? Right.
All right, so like I said, this is pretty much free roleplay, whatever you guys want to do. So wherever you guys want to.
I will make my way down to the sick bay when I need to be there. Or we're security bay or sick bay, wherever it was that we were meeting. For the questioning.
Sick bay. He's in ICU.
Cool. I'll head down there. Converse with the cat, with the doctor.
The doctor's huge because he's in charge.
You are in charge. So in charge.
Large and in charge.
She will ask the nurse or duty officer on charge right here where the CMO is, if he's available or busy. And
Dr. Blackwell is in his office, counselor.
she'll make her way over to the office and she'll chime the door.
Doctor, your choice, TNG or Void.
TNG.
TNG. Dynamite.
Come.
She'll walk in. She'll walk in very casually.
So Blackwell is wearing the 24th century equivalent of, the short-sleeved scrubs-like uniform top that Bones used to wear in the original series. So I'm wearing whatever the 24th century version of that is. And I'm basically finishing unpacking and arranging my office, since I'm now officially CMO. On the kind of shelf behind my desk, you see the models, 4 small models of different starships, one upgraded Excelsior, one New Orleans class, a Norway class, and then a Nova refit. There's also a actual hardbound book of Leonard McCoy's xenobiology, which looks as if it's been carefully handled, but definitely much read. Counselor,
Cool.
what can I do for you?
As she comes in, she's wearing a jumper, a blue jumper. It's very kind to her figure. It's pants with a kind of a halter top, shows her back and her shoulders. It's sleeveless, and she has her hair up, done in a gold style bun thing. I don't know what they call that, but it's up there. And she smiles pleasantly to him, and she says, "I was told by the captain that you're holding a sensitive guest in your medical bay." She says,
I'm glad he brought you in on this. Have a seat. Yeah, so fundamentally, he tried. His belief system is that any Trill who wants to can be joined, can be a host for a symbiote. Now, this is not true for reasons both medical and psychological, as you're well aware. However, he did attempt a forced joining. Even worse, he attempted it with a juvenile symbiote, which was in no way ready for joining itself. As you can imagine, the rejection was present on both sides. I was able to successfully remove the symbiote, and his physical condition has improved rapidly. It was fundamentally removing a foreign organism that his body was rejecting. But I worry about his psychological state. The fact that the rejection happened, and he's very much aware, or should be, that it happened, because it was not a pleasant or comfortable experience. I worry that it may have affected his mental state and emotional state, as it challenges something that he at least appeared to believe in quite fervently, enough to risks the most severe penalty in Trill law and ostracism from his people. Now the captain is wanting to put this gentleman into Federation hands in return for certain information about this network that allowed them to kidnap the symbiotes. But again, physically, he's fine. But I'm glad the captain brought you in, because his mental capacity after this physical, emotional, and psychological trauma, I mean, you know
Is
as
it
well as I,
concern?
could go in 6 different directions.
Yes. She said we done neurological scans on his brain to ensure that. Is there any type of brain damage, as far as you know?
GM?
Give me insight medicine. Let's call this a difficulty 3.
Ooh, we got momentum. I'll take one of those for a third die and for control. Insight medicine. Don't. Unless xenobiology would work.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's about it. So, okay, here we go. Ooh, nice.
That's at 3, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, typing some stuff.
You're good.
Is that him over there? Ah,
It's the faceless Trill.
faceless Trill. You're all faceless to me. I'm just kidding. You're all just a symbiote.
There's nothing unusual on the neurological scans, Counselor. Most of the damage physically was due to the rejection. Now, there might be a few lingering effects, confusion, lingering dual thoughts, and this may be complicated further by the fact that the Trill was a juvenile. But the connections were not, and because it was a juvenile, the connections were not necessarily as they should be, and certainly not as strong as they are with a mature symbiote and trained host. But there could be some confusion, but no actual physical neurological damage that our scans can detect.
Most likely, she says that there's no any neurological permanent damage. She says confusion could last a short time, maybe longer, just depending on his situation. Yeah, he would need to be evaluated. She says is he considered dangerous to you at all?
Thus far, while awake and cognizant, for all the normal tests anyway, he is still a little weak. He's shown no signs of violent behavior or dangerous behavior, and the captain has posted 2 security guards right outside of ICU. which I'm not particularly thrilled about, but they might be necessary. But thus far, I've limited my staff and myself to brief discussions with him about his physical condition and haven't probed any further.
I see. She crosses her arms, kind of thinks for a second. Has he expressed any type of remorse in the short time that he's been here? For what he actually did or what actually happened?
GM?
Sorry, 9,000 things going on at the.
Love me, Ed. Pay attention to me, Ed. I love you.
I'm setting up something for Casey. And Degrass are setting something up for Casey in text. So I'm
Yeah, I'm just
Awesome.
ripping on you.
Did I send it to the right person?
Oh, I got something.
What was the question, just to make sure I got that right?
Remorse?
Yeah, has he expressed any remorse in the short time, or being sorry for what he's done or what's happened in the short time that he's actually been on our ship?
All right, let me advise just a little.
Yeah, you don't have to translate it to him. You could just tell us both. It's cool.
But the role play.
Honestly, Counselor, he seems more confused than anything else. As I say, we've been trying to stay away from anything not directly related to his physical and very basic mental well-being. I've been operating under the theory that engaging him in any kind of political discussion or anything like that might just exacerbate the situation.
See, she says, of course. It would seem that he has. It would seem that he has an asylum on our ship. She says, given that he gives us the right information for it to be submitted by the captain to the Federation. The captain didn't express that she says, asked for asylum for our guest.
Doctor, one way or another, this patient has the equivalent of asylum on this vessel. We turned him over to the Trill government. He's a dead man. They still have the death penalty in effect for this type of crime, and believe me, that is the only reason I'm going along with this subterfuge of the captain's.
There are several types of anxieties that could be linked to this individual. Before I see him, I would be making assumptions, she says, but even then, given the different types of anxieties that he could be suffering or disorders that he could have, it's a very sensitive thing. She says to mark someone as crazy, she says, particularly for their political ideals. Crazy is something that can be worked through, fixed neurologically in many different fashions. The word crazy is quite a rare thing.
No, I'm not saying he's insane, Doctor. I'm just saying that what he's been through may have led to some potential mental and emotional instability. And you are welcome to give him a preliminary assessment. But again, he has been more confused than anything else, so I don't know that he's in quite a position to give you an accurate diagnosis.
She nods her head. She says, have you ever had any history with any type of medical, political reasons for asylum before from any patient anywhere? She says, have you ever read of anything like that?
Well, the Federation is fairly liberal with its asylum policies. Fundamentally, if someone asks, the Federation tends to generally grant at least temporary asylum until the case is investigated. And as far as the Federation generally goes, if you want to be a part of us, then you're more than welcome. But asylum claimants generally are given temporary asylum until full investigation and diplomatic matters can be worked out, or the Federation determines that the person's life would be in jeopardy if he is returned to where he or she or it came from.
She says, that's my idea as well. Well, she says, I'll have to speak to him at some point. It is a him, right?
Yes. And you're welcome to whenever, just keep it brief and try not to overtax him.
She nods her head. Is there... The symbiote, she says, was removed from him.
Yes. We removed the symbiote and placed it in temporary transport containers provided by the guardians of the pools, and the Trill vessel that we rendezvoused with took them with them to return them to Trill.
So wow, that is confusing. Essentially, you have two different minds, two different individuals with two different points of view. Okay.
Indeed.
And one isn't
Remember
present.
also that one of them is juvenile and was not ready physically or developmentally in any way, shape, or form to be joined to anyone, even a candidate who had gone through all of the screenings and testings. So in many ways, this person has been attempted to join with a very young child.
Yeah, she says, who speaks for the children of Trill? Or the young? Well, she says, in any case, it's a political issue that's not something that the captain's asked me to look into, so I just wanted a little bit of background since this person's political views, she says, will surely be mixed into their evaluation and why they did what they did. So thank you for your time, Doctor.
Of course. Let me know if you need any help.
If you'd like to be present, she says you can be present. Certainly that would be nice given the current situation.
Of course, I'll be happy to accompany you.
She says, I'm to assist the captain, but I don't think it'd hurt to visit him now, she says, just to see how he's feeling. May I see him? She says,
of course.
It'll be brief, she says, like you asked.
Sure.
And then she'll go
Right
to
this,
speak to him.
right this way.
All right, I'm gonna cut there really quick. What do I want to? I think I'll use this one. All right, so we're gonna do Casey's readiness drill.
Nice.
Casey, how you feeling today, friend?
Very good, Commander.
You nice and fresh?
Yes, sir. I got plenty of sleep.
No aches and pains?
No aches and pains.
Well, not yet. I'm ordering you to combat readiness drills. I want it to be ground combats, enemy of your choosing. And, just to mix things up, I want you to take Marora and Nadan with you.
I'm actually going to have them rolling as Starfleet security
Oh, gotcha.
because their security skills are abysmal.
Aw. So we'll retcon that. And yeah, I'll just say, Casey, I'd like you to report to combat readiness drills, ground combats, enemy of your choosing, and take your 2 best security officers to train with you.
Understood, Commander. I'll let you know once we're finished. I'll certainly put them through the ringer.
Want a full assessment of their capabilities, and if you don't mind, yours as well. Want to make sure that we're not getting rusty.
Yes, Commander. So I assume I'll be bringing the 2 security supporting characters we have.
Yeah. Well, not the supporting characters. I have a generic Starfleet security template.
Okay.
And this is technically going to take place in the holodeck. Let me get there really quick. And a Casey. Okay. So Marora, Nadan, and Casey, you're going to be taking part in a little ground skirmish, little 3-on-3. The 2 blues and a red are actually Cardassian soldiers. And I'm going to have Marora and Nadan take charge of the purple Starfleet security officers, the one there and the one there. And if you see at the top, very top of the journal, you'll see Starfleet security. That's the sheet you'll use. Do both of you see that, hopefully?
Yeah, I got it.
So this is going to
got
be
it
your
too.
crash. Cool. So this is going to be your crash course in ground combat. And it'll be basically repelling this boarding party. So Lieutenant Casey, I will let you brief them and.
All right. So this is a basic combat drill. Nothing fancy. A 3-person Cardassian boarding party has entered the ship. We will be responding. This will be a relatively close quarters fight. Keep your phasers handy, but be ready to engage in hand-to-hand combat if necessary. Any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Perfect. We'll get started.
Oh, I don't think I have the old red alert. Close enough. All right, so the simulation starts. You guys are patrolling the hallways, trying to find the intruders. And as you guys are walking through this hallway, there you see them, 3 Cardassians. And as soon as you all see each other, you all kind of duck into these little alcoves for partial. And I will allow your side to get the first action.
So who actually takes the first action character-wise? Because I haven't done ground combat since our first episode.
So really, you guys get to decide who goes first and in what order. There's no rolling for initiative. There's no turn order.
Right.
We just kind of go till everyone gets a turn, but you guys decide who goes based on your situation.
Who's feeling lucky?
I'll try it.
Perfect.
But I have a question. My phaser says it's 3 weapon damage. Isn't that based on the security?
So when you roll the, go ahead and just hit the Starfleet icon by the weapon, and I'll show you what it does. All right, so that was on your sheet, was it not?
Oh, no. That was on the other sheet.
Or did you roll for? Oh, that's. Did it break?
Type 2 phasers are supposed to roll more, aren't they?
Yeah, the sheet might be broken. Damn
Let me
it.
try. And, I have a type 2. Huh.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, I might have fixed it. Give that sheet a try.
There we go.
Okay, so the sheet automatically adds in the security and the weapon damage for you. So that's why under the weapon it says 3, because that's the challenge dice for the weapon. And then it automatically adds the security in generally. It was broken temporarily, but it did. I just had to input the number.
All right, so I guess I'm going to shoot at red guy.
Okay.
So that is control security?
Yes, there'll be control security. It is a difficulty of 2.
Okay.
And are you the pink or the purple?
Purple.
All right, so this one.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So that is a hit. Now you get to roll the weapon damage. And so right now that is... he gets 2 challenge dice for the cover. Let me go ahead and roll that really quick. Okay, so he is actually going to be taking 2 at the moment. All right, so since you guys took the first action, you guys can spend momentum to keep the turn. Otherwise, it passes back to them, or it passes to them.
Is it 1 momentum to hold the advantage?
2.
Well, we have like 5.
I say go for it.
Yeah, I'll say we hold it.
All right, that's
Keep it
2
on our side.
momentum. And then again, you guys get to decide who.
Naden, want to take the shot?
Sure. Okay, so I roll control plus security to take the shot, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Does my focus and hand phasers count?
Sure does.
Okay. So I click yes on that and press the button.
Perfect. So you guys bank a momentum, and then roll the weapon damage for the type 2 phase.
Okay. And I think I do that by clicking this. Yes. That's a good roll.
All right, let me roll his cover.
Lucky.
All right, so he'll take another 3 damage. Okay, so it passes back to them now. I'm just trying to think what he's doing. Right, he is actually going to shoot at you, Casey.
Naturally.
All right, Casey, roll me 2 challenge dice for your cover. So I put everyone in cover.
Okay. Yeah, no
You know, you're hiding in the alcove, so I'm giving everyone 2 challenge dice for cover. Should just be 2 challenge dice.
Yeah, I know. I put wait. So.
Oh, you got to hit enter before you roll it. Otherwise, it rolls the last thing you had in there.
I see. Yes.
That's why it's important to. Yep. So you're actually going to take 3 because they have a vicious 1 and they roll 2 effects.
3 stress damage.
Yep.
Alright.
And the turn will go back to actually you, Kate.
Okay. Guess we've been shooting at the red guy, I think. I will also fire, and I'm gonna go for bold. Generate 1 threat for an extra dice. Not enough threat in this session. I'll be using my hand phaser's focus.
Yep.
Oh, the present command still. My bad. Let me fix that.
Okay. Let's see. So that is 3 extra momentum. Roll damage.
Okay.
So right now he's taking 1.
There is float. You can re-roll the 5. You have 1 floating momentum from that shot.
Okay. Yeah, I'll spend 1 then. And
Okay.
do I just roll 1 challenge dice for that shot?
So you're gonna roll. So you re-roll any number of challenge dice, so you can re-roll 5. So just go up to the challenge dice and hit 5, and then.
All right. Perfect.
So he's actually going to take 7.
Big hit. Set to kill.
And you shoot the Cardassian with the red dot straight into the chest, and the phaser blast goes through his chest and leaves a scorch mark on the wall. The Cardassian falls to the floor, and he is down with 2 injuries. This Cardassian is going to fire at you because you. I'm going to spend 3 threat here. To roll 4 dice. Good, because I needed it, apparently.
Yeah.
So right now it's 3. I'm going to spend a threat to reroll 2. As I keep closing the damn sheet. And then I'll spend 1 more threat to add extra damage. So Casey, that is going to be 5 stress.
Okay.
Which quite possibly could be an injury.
Okay, that's let me see here.
So you do have
8
options.
Stress. What's your maximum stress again? It's your fitness plus security, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not there yet, but halfway there.
So you do have options. You could avoid the injury by paying 2 momentum. So you basically avoid the injury. You could take a complication instead of, or you could. It could also be paid by suffering a complication, or you could spend your determination to basically stay up, but you lose the protection of the injury if you use determination.
What's the protection of the injury?
So the protection of the injury basically means that number one, they can't target you unless I spend threat.
Oh.
But like you're not gonna die essentially. Where if you take 2 injuries, then your injury becomes lethal and you could die.
I'll do a determination spin on this. I don't need it.
Spending the momentum is better because if you spend the determination, the injury still counts. Or if you spend the momentum, you avoid the injury, which means you don't have the injury. You just take the stress damage.
Okay.
Right.
But with the determination spend, the injury still counts on you.
But you don't get the stress damage?
You take the stress damage still. You just stay up. It's kind of a trap in a way in the rules.
So it's basically useless.
It's not, because if you don't have momentum and you don't want to give the GM threat, you want to stay up, you can do that through a determination spend.
Well, anyway, I'll just spend the momentum because we have a bunch.
All right, cool. And the other thing is you could only avoid the injury once per scene unless you do a recover task.
Okay.
All right, so both of them went. All 3 of you went, so it will actually go back to you guys because they acted last. Yeah. So it's back to you.
I guess I can go first again. Now, what about aim?
So with aim, I got to remember what it does. I believe it allows you to re-roll a d20.
Yeah, it allows you to re-roll 1d20. Essentially, that's your move. Well, your minor action.
Right. Okay, so then I'm gonna go ahead and aim. Which I don't need to re-roll anyway, so it's fine. I'll keep that.
And you bank a momentum and then damage.
Oh, I'm gonna spend a momentum to re-roll all of those.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. So you just want to re-roll 5.
Yeah, the 5. Better.
Left or right?
The one closest to me, so the right.
And that Cardassian falls to the floor, and he is... All right, so do you want it to pass back to them, or do you wish to keep?
I think we've got enough momentum. We should probably keep it. What do you guys think?
Yes, I agree.
All right, 2 momentum, and then you choose who goes. Keep in mind, Marora already went.
Yeah, we can do the same order as last time.
Okay, so then my turn, I guess. I will also aim, I suppose. And I still have the focus, that makes sense. Control security.
And your shot hits harmlessly on the...
You can re-roll 1 the
wall
dice.
Oh, yes. Yes, I forgot about that.
You can re-roll 1.
Does not matter. It just leaves a nice little scorch mark here.
That's more like how I typically roll.
I will spend a threat here. I will also have him aim. He's going to aim at Nadine. I will re-roll that complication. And he also just kind of hits the ground right at your feet. Casey.
Can I run and attack in the same turn? Like, can I run into hand-to-hand range? Or
Yeah, they're close enough, I would say.
okay, I want to get into a fist fight, so I'm gonna run up and start punching.
Okay, but you got to give me your best war cry, though.
I was scared.
The Wilhelm scream. Ah!
Okay, so you charge him.
All right, and I will.
And so hand-to-hand combat is opposed. So
Yes.
he's going to get the so the roll's going to be daring.
Yeah. Daring security. Have okay, so I have a talent I've never used, which is why I'm fist fighting. Martial artist. The character's unarmed strike gains the intense damage effect. I don't actually know what that is. It's been a while since I rolled this character.
Oh, but we know it's intense.
Yeah.
So, I can explain this one if you don't know what it.
The cost to avoid the injury is increased by 1 for each effect roll. So if you give him an injury and I wanted to avoid it, I would increase the cost for every effect you roll.
Okay.
So generally it's 2, but let's say if during the damage you get 2 effects, the cost would be 4.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll generate 1 threat in order for an extra dice.
I will use the threat to give him an extra. You had bold, I take it?
Yeah, bold security.
All right, so you win the scrum, so you get to do unarmed strike damage. So you will do 3 points, and you do knock him down.
Clap him on the head like Kurt.
Yeah, you can use. So currently, that's what you did. You can use 1 momentum to reroll the 3, and maybe you knock him out.
Yeah, I'll do that. So, what do we need momentum for anyway?
That will be 5. So yeah, you are able to force him to the ground, and then you kind of take the butt of your phaser and knock him out. And all 3 Cardassian infiltrators have been dealt.
Go
Awesome.
team.
Good job, everyone.
All right, if you want to have your pep talk with the team.
Sure. Very good work. Certainly, there's improvements to be made. Several of those shots were not entirely accurate. We will be going over phaser drills in the coming days, as the captain wants us on our best readiness for future missions. This will not be the last of our exercises, I assure you, so take a short rest, and we'll be back here for more training.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how did you guys like your crash course in combat?
I like his fighting better than my fighting.
I think this character has forgotten more about fighting than mine knows.
Yeah, I figured Starfleet, Starfleet security characters would be far better than your own characters because they have a security of 1.
Yeah. My character's plan if fighting happens is to find a nice place to hide. Unless there are civvies who need help, in which case help the civvies find a nice place to hide, frankly.
All right, so any questions about combat? Because that's basically ground combat in a nutshell.
So what is charge, by the way?
So some weapons have the ability to charge it, and if you charge it, you can give it an effect. The effects are area, intense, piercing 2, or vicious 1. It is a minor action to do that. But like but it could be really good. Like if a enemy has a lot of resistance, like is wearing armor, piercing might be good. If you just are trying to get as much damage as possible, vicious might be good. If you're trying to take out like a whole group of enemies in one shot, area might be good. And intense, you got to kind of see intense.
Cool.
So that's what charge does. It gives it an effect. Generally, your phasers do have a charge ability. Did that answer the question? I think it
Sure did.
I think
Thank you.
so. Any other questions on combat? Nate? Alrighty, I think we'll head back to the sick bay then. With the doctor and the counselor about to walk into the IC.
Okay. We can make this particular scene shorter if we can get a scene with Prax and the security or whatever that scene's going to be. I just want to determine. I don't know if I'll have enough time because I don't want to spend too much time there and respect the doctor and what he mentioned. But all I want to try to determine in a short period of time, if the guy is filling up to it. I just talk to him about, what happened.
Yeah, we could make this like a couple minute deal.
And during that conversation, I'm going to be very neutral in this as far as, what happened, why did you do what you did,
Well, we could role play it out.
All right. Well, yeah. I just want to make sure that we get that other scene because that other scene I think would be really fun.
Yeah, I mean, because this would be the scene before the scene, so it would be the scene
cool.
letting the captain, giving the captain the info you'd find out, and then doing the reels.
Sure, and I definitely like to make at least a short-term roll to figure out, if this guy is off his rocker or if he's just, has political views that, are extreme.
Sure. But yeah, we'll role play first, and then we'll see what comes of it.
All right, cool. He's like, I am Napoleon. What? Napoleon.
All right, so we'll have you guys enter.
Oop, on top of him.
And you see the Trill lying in bed, awake, just kind of staring at the. Doesn't really pay you much attention as you both enter.
I'll find the chart to figure out what the guy's name is.
I had this.
Yeah, because I don't.
Blackwell will take a quick scan of the biobed readings just to make sure everything looks copacetic.
I think that's an A. can't read my own writing sometimes.
I'm gonna put that into Google Translate. To
Serja Miox.
Serja Miox.
Sounds good to me.
She'll sit down on the bed beside him. Mr. Serja Miox, she says. I came in to find out how you're doing.
What happened? Where am I?
She looks to the doctor.
You're aboard. You're all right. You're in sick bay aboard the USS Monarch.
No. Something's wrong. I don't feel right. What happened? Where is it?
You underwent an operation, she says, and you were having complications. Your life was in danger.
Where is
the doctor again.
Your body and the symbiote rejected each other. I performed an emergency procedure to move the symbiote. It is perfectly healthy and fine, and by this time back in the pools at Trill.
No, it was working. Where is it? It should be here. I feel it.
What you're feeling are residual after effects of an impartial and failed joining. They should pass with time, but the symbiote has been removed. You and it are both fine, but the symbiote and your body rejected each other.
No, it was working. I was not rejecting. No, where's my symbiote?
I'll try to calm him with command presence, and if I can't, obviously the doctor will
sedate the shit out of him.
Yeah, exactly.
I will make this a difficulty 3.
Cool. Presence command. I will spend a momentum. Actually, you know what? No, that's not what I want to do. We got 5 threat. Let's spend some threat. Let's get threatening. It's 3 threat for 2 dice.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then I know we talked about this before. Before about the pheromone thing. It provides an extra dice in social situations to the opposing sex, I guess.
Right, but they also have to be attracted to you.
Sure.
So in this case, because he's probably not thinking about being attracted, it's probably a no on the bonus.
Well, wait a minute here, because I mean it's pheromones, right? So it's not like.
I mean, from the book, it says the creature that could be physically attracted to you. In this case, because of its condition, it would not be physically attracted to anything, because it's freaking out about the symbiote.
Right. Whatever. We're gonna go with that. Okay, fine. I'll throw 3 dice, or we'll throw 4 dice, and we'll, I don't know, use my psychology or persuasion to try to calm him down.
Yep, either one.
Throw those out there. And then I'll buy up the complication. That's fine.
Okay. So it's successful. Just tell me how you calm the.
I tell him that we're going to find out about the symbiote real soon and its status to ensure that it's all right, and that we want to make sure he's in good health, and we need him to relax so he does not hurt himself.
You're gonna put it back, right?
She looks at So the doctor looks back at him. She says, I don't know if that's possible medically, she says, but I can look into that for you.
I have to have a symbiote. I am empty without it.
She looks at him very compassionate, puts her hand on his shoulder, and kind of like nods to him, like we're going to find out about that.
And you just see a tear run down his cheek as he just nods in agreement with.
Nice.
I look at the doctor, and then I want to pull him aside. She says, I think we've done what we can here, doctor. She says, if you don't mind, she would step out.
Okay. I'll pat him on the shoulder reassuringly as we step out.
Okay, I'll recommend that he gets some sort of calming medication or something, not sedative, but something, not something that's going to take away his faculties, but something that can make him maybe relax a little bit more. He's been through a lot of anxiety, obviously, and he's still suffering from that. And he might not be ready to talk to the captain. So, maybe we can prepare him for that by giving him some sort of sedative, anything that you'd recommend psychiatry-wise. If I make that recommendation, I'll roll, make it, or just make it. However you want to do that. Ed?
It would just be your recommendation with the doctor. Like,
Okay. She'll make a recommendation of some sort of medication, psychiatry-wise, and something that isn't, obviously, mind-altering or is going to take away his faculties, but something that might, calm him down. She'll defer to him about trill physiology. Although she knows quite a bit about different aliens' physiology as far as it comes to medication like that. She's not a psychiatrist. She's a counselor and psychologist.
There's nothing specifically like that in the book, Ed, in the science. But I would assume there would be something, it would be the equivalent of a fast-acting. I know some antidepressants are used as anti-anxiety medications, like Zoloft, I think.
Yeah. I mean, there would be a equivalent to something like that.
Cool.
All right. So the doctor will come up with one of his patent concoctions to kind of relieve his anxiety without, messing with his cognitive functions or consciousness, and give him an injection.
Okay. I assume that's not putting him out. It's not gonna knock him out or anything.
No.
No.
It's just gonna ease his anxiety level.
I will go and I will go back in the room. I'm gonna let the doctor know that I'm gonna talk with him, and she'll turn back to the doctor and ask him, is there any way to return a symbiote to someone like that?
Are
medically?
We in the room?
No, we're outside the room.
No. And there's no hope in the 6 hells that the Symbiosis Commission would ever give this man a symbiote.
No, I don't mean politically. She says physically. Could he be connected to a symbiote? She says, is he capable of that in the future?
Only a few Trill are. To know if he was actually physically capable, I would have to run an entirely different set of tests. And honestly, Counselor, due to the nature of the test and the Trill Symbiosis Commission's sort of habits of playing things close to their vest, as it were, the people best suited to run those tests are unavailable to us. But I can tell you that this man is not only never going to get a symbiote for political reasons, but more than likely no symbiote would allow itself to be joined to someone who has kidnapped a child and tried to forcibly join with it. Remember, we're not just talking about one being, but two here.
She nods her head. She says, I know that this man is never, she says, the government's never going to allow that. She says, and I don't want to give him false hope. She says, but I want to be honest when speaking with him. You can't do that. She says, you don't have the abilities to do that or to make that assessment, right?
Well,
She says,
based on the fact that of the rejection itself, he may not be a candidate.
right.
I mean,
She says,
I could definitely try to do these tests on him, but the larger problem seems to be that he doesn't believe that the rejection occurred. Therefore, he's, at this point anyway, not going to believe anything I tell him if it doesn't agree with his current worldview.
She says that's why we have to take a step towards somebody to take 2 steps back. She says, maybe some information. If you could get me some information, would be very helpful on what that test is and what it in details. She says, like I said, I don't want to give him false hope, but it may allow him to open up to us further if he is under the impression that I'm getting the information that I mentioned to him, which is whether or not he could actually be joined. She says, with Trill symbiote or not. She says, politically, whether or not he is or not. She says, that's beside the point, I think.
I'll
but
run some
sincerity
tests and
goes a
see what
long
I
way.
can find out.
She says, sincerity goes a long way. She says, we'll go a long way with this particular patient. And sincerely, I'd like to get that answer for him.
All right, I'll see what I can find out. So,
Thank you.
Blackwell will head back to his office and do some quick research and see what kind of tests he might be able to run to give him an idea of whether or not this person is physiologically able to be a host.
Okay. She will go in and all I want to do between now and the meeting, and I want to have a buffer of some time off between it, I want to prepare him to normalize him to what has happened to him. Let him know that we are finding out about what he asked about, and that she doesn't know that, but she's having the doctor look into that for him. Is a way for him to take a step towards me, while I kind of acclimate him to being without the symbiote and being kind of in this hospital room. Just somebody to kind of talk him through it, like a nurse, kind of say, hey, how you doing, and this is what happened, and
Sure.
we're taking care of you. And then I want like a break, like I want, I'll take some time off, that way he has some time alone before the captain comes, so it's not like we go right into that meeting.
Right, cool. So we'll go to whoever else wants to do any role play. So whoever wants to role play next could be anywhere. Anyone?
I'm good, GM.
I assume Casey is still doing combat training with various squads and departments.
Degrass, anything you would like to do?
No, I think I'm good.
Then I'll see the captain before we go down there to I don't know what's transpired.
Mm-hmm. Aurora, Nadan, anything you two would like?
I'm good.
I thought I might be misremembering this, but I thought that the first officer was supposed to have a conversation with me at some point. Might be misremembering that though.
Yeah, I mean we can certainly have that. So, Degrass is going to be on the bridge, and will hit his comm badge. Lieutenant Nadan, please report to the bridge.
Yes, sir. Reporting to the bridge, sir.
And nice turbo lift music or sounds.
Music to an engineer.
Oh, wrong thing. Sorry. Door swoosh. And you appear out over the bridge.
Ah, Lieutenant. How are you?
It's been an eventful day, sir, but I'm well.
How so?
I was assisting Lieutenant Commander Aurora with the breaches earlier.
And I trust that those were fixed appropriately?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Good. Aurora's definitely proven himself to be very good at his craft. So I'm surprised. You have some engineering abilities yourself?
Yes, sir. Long story short, there was a thing with some cooling systems, and I decided I should take some courses in case it happened again, so I wasn't flying by the seat of my pants.
That is definitely a good thing to do. And speaking as somebody with a science background, technically still science officer on the ship, it's good for us to diversify into other domains, be more useful to the ship. So how long have you been on board?
GM, quick question. How long has the ship been on its mission?
Oh, probably 2 months. Right? Does that make sense?
I think it's about 2 months.
It was December when we launched. We're in February, so we're
3 months.
close to 3 months.
Okay.
2.5.
Right. Thanks. Since the start of this mission, so 2.5 months or so, sir?
Huh. Well, please forgive me. I've been under a lot of stress here lately, and so guess it might expose a little bit of my lack of knowing my full science staff. So forgive me. Do you want to get some coffee or maybe a quick bite to eat down in the mess hall? Been on this bridge for a few hours, and I'm kind of looking to go stretch my legs a little.
Yes, sir.
Great. And wow, who would be the senior officer on the bridge?
One of
Besides
those
me.
4?
Well, Knight's been pretty good so far, so I'll turn to Knight and say, Knight, you have the bridge.
And she kind of looks back at you a little shocked. I, Commander?
Well, everyone's got to get some experience in the big chair, so now's your opportunity. Feel free to reach out if anything happens, though.
Yes, Commander. Thank you, Commander.
And Degrass goes to the turbo lift.
Nidan follows.
And so once we're in the turbo lift, I'll turn to Nidan and say, so I hear that you may be interested in the Chief Science Officer position.
If it's a position that is open, sir, certainly I don't think I'm more qualified than you.
Well, in a position like this, qualifications do help, at least to the traditional kinds. But other things are very, very helpful. So in this position, it is much more of a command position. You're still doing science, but you are expected to be a leader of the department as well. So in that respect, who knows? I'm consider myself to be very skilled in science, but that's not the entire job. So how long have you been an officer?
Few years now, sir. I've been around enough that I wouldn't call myself green anymore, but I'm no veteran.
No, I understand that. What ship did you serve on before this one?
The Grissom, sir? I don't think you have heard of it. It was pretty small.
Well, you'd be right about that. I haven't heard of it, but there's a lot of ships in the fleet. So Degrass will have a coffee, and while it's making, Degrass is going to turn to Nidan and just simply say, do you want the Chief Science Officer position?
I think it would be a challenge I would appreciate the chance to take on, sir.
Lieutenant, that was a very diplomatic answer, and I appreciate that. However, you'll find if you were to be a head of a department, the captain will expect you to be very straightforward in your answers when you can be straightforward. So I'll ask you again. Do you want the Chief Science Officer position?
Yes, to be frank.
So Degrass is going to smile, look down, and just say, well, I think you'd be an excellent fit. Based on everything I hear about you, your outstanding skills, your experience, although brief, I honestly can't think of anyone else who's more deserving on this ship to have a shot at that position. So here's what I'll do. I'll put in a good word to the captain on your behalf. I'll push to have you placed at the top of the pile. It's still competitive. I can't make any promises, but I think you'd be an excellent addition to the crew, to the bridge, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thank you for your support, sir. I hope that I prove myself worthy of the faith you're showing in me.
Well, we'll soon find out. So, and I guess unless you want to roleplay anything else, I assume they're just gonna have sort of a polite conversation until break ends, and then make their way back up to the bridge.
That sounds good to me.
All right, perfect.
Enter.
She comes right in. Stands there. She says, hello, Captain.
Counselor.
I talked to the patient initially. She says, they're a bit in a delirious state, she says. But they seem to be coming around now, so I think being able to meet with them might be something that we can do, she says, quite soon. They've been through quite a traumatic experience.
Very well. I was just about to head down there myself to begin talking with the individual.
She says, if I could know your intentions, sir, she says, so that I could assist you better.
The intention is to ensure that he stays alive, Counselor.
Just, well, he's already under our ship's privy, she says, and once the Federation learns, she says, I'm sure that
He can't stay here forever, and even then, if once the Federation learns, and if he's not put into some sort of protective custody for long-term purposes, the Federation can't hold him forever.
yeah, she says, I'm
Remember,
sure he'll
Trill is a member world.
She says, yes, that is true, she says. But the death penalty, she says, is forbidden, she says, in Starfleet.
No,
Is it?
it's not, actually, Counselor. Mutiny and other regulations do allow to have the death penalty on the table, though a death penalty has not been used in quite a very long time.
Okay, sorry, I was just going off of Memory Alpha, so I don't know if that's not, we're not going by that then.
No, that should be on Memory Alpha.
This is what I found on Memory Alpha.
Forbids it. However, there are exceptions.
Yeah, the exception is, the only one exception, such as mutiny, is not considered to be a violation of the order. That's in TOS.
Sorry,
Prime.
yeah,
isn't
not
it
Mutiny.
Talos 4 is the one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Talos 4.
Yeah, that's
Which
the.
I
That,
assume by
But that's Starfleet, not the
2370
Federation.
That's Starfleet,
It's
not
Trill,
Federation.
right. That's why I said Starfleet.
Starfleet and the Federation are separate.
Yes,
However,
they're a member of the Federation. So yeah, that's why I said Starfleet. She says, so are we going to ask Starfleet? She says to give them political asylum.
Starfleet can't offer him political asylum because he is not a member of Starfleet. We are not under any obligation to offer any sort of asylum. That is up to the job of the Federation Council.
She thinks for a second.
And he cannot stay aboard the ship forever.
Okay, so I don't want to argue semantics, right? So I want to make sure that I'm on the right track with this, because otherwise I won't go there. If it's just role playing, then it's role playing. But isn't a captain able to like do these things? Like be able to like be the word of.
To an extent.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just like checking out the general orders and stuff like that. So that's what I was looking at. I don't want to like quote like general orders or something and make like make this like a tense conversation unless like it's something that we both like know. Like if, because I thought that the captain could be like, I thought a captain or a high-ranking officer could negotiate conditions and treaties and such as that. Like
this is also a
in
prime directive issue because there are a member world.
Okay, so then she'll be okay. She says, so how are we going to proceed to protect this person's life?
I need a plea deal from him, counselor, and information that would help a certain region that's been under attack by Nausicaans, if he can provide any of that, and how he attained it, how his group obtained the information on the pools, could help secure his freedom in a way.
So with his cooperation, he wins his life.
That is the plan, yes.
And we're going to bring that to Starfleet or to the Federation or to
The
Trill.
Federation Security Council.
Okay, she says. There are very few conditions, she says, where the mental health, she says, can contribute to that as well, although it can. If he's outside his mental state, that may help you with that case as well. But I won't know that till further sessions are done. Whether it's just his political views or is a political extremist, or in fact actually was crazy. There are only a few asylums just within the Federation. But that could be another place where you could cite as well, if that's your intentions, Captain. If he is in fact crazy, she says.
I doubt he's crazy, counselor.
I do too.
It's more along the lines that it's his political views that are guiding his judgment.
Okay, she says. So, okay. So we're going to return him to Starfleet Command then, or the Council, she says.
I need a statement from him first, counselor, and any information. And then on top of that, I have to go through the Starfleet or the Federation Security Council, as well as Starfleet Security, to help put him in essentially a protective custody status.
She says, is it will be determined by his answers, or are we just taking his statement?
The information that he can provide, counselor. So I just need to know, is he caught enough to realize that he will know his rights?
He is cognizant enough to know that he's right. He know his rights, just but whether he acts accordingly with them without counsel, without further time to recover from the traumatic injuries, she says, I couldn't say, not at this point. I would say no at this point. He could give a statement. We could certainly interrogate him, she says, or we could
I would rather
give
not
him
interrogate him, counselor. I would rather make sure he'd see if he could give us a statement and any useful information.
We're both in agreement with that, she says. He's probably going to need some time to recover. I'm assuming the long-term solution isn't to have him here on the ship, so taking his statement, giving him to the Federation Council to let them handle the arbitration of this, she says, probably is the best bet, socially, in my opinion. But I will assist you in any ways you need to further that goal, of course.
I'll be down at sickbay shortly.
She nods her head. And she'll leave. I don't know, it seems pretty clear cut. I don't know. I mean, if they wanted to kill him, I mean, or he thought that he was in danger, I would think that anybody could appeal to their own government or to Starfleet, or to be like, hey, I fear for my life, and if you believe him, then, you know, then you could at least get them to the point where they could have arbitration, have somebody represent them.
The issue is this. So this is a political type matter for the Federation itself, not so much Starfleet. Starfleet can act on behalf of the Federation, but considering it involves a member world, essentially the Federation Security Council and our role, the Federation Council, would have to intervene in this situation.
Right. We would basically have the rights to handle the situation till we could get it in the right hands, like fleet operations or something like that, to like
Which is
deal with it.
why I wanted to give a statement from the guy, make sure he see if he has any information. Say he has all this information he's willing to provide us in exchange for this, or otherwise, because of the way the Prime Directive is worded, I would have to hand him over back to the Trill, which then therefore he would die.
Yeah. Technically, when we were in Trill space or like within their jurisdiction, you were technically probably supposed to hand him over to them,
Right.
and then you didn't, right, to save his life. I get that.
I can word this in a way, even if the Trill government finds out that he's alive, saying, "Well, I lied because he knew potential information that I otherwise would not have gotten about the region."
Sure. Okay. Cool. Yeah. No, I get that, and I'm like, okay, so if he has potential information, what if his potential information isn't good enough? Are we going to return him to Trill, or are we going to give him to the Federation?
But that would be up to the Federation Council.
Totally cool with that. Cool. That's exactly where I was going. I'm in agreement. Cool. Just wanted to make sure that was the case.
All right, where do we want to go next?
I have nothing else up until the sickbay part, so.
All right, so if nobody has anything else, we'll go ahead and go to the sick bay. Was it you and Casey joining here?
I was not going to involve Casey in on it just yet.
Cool.
And I'll have the captain ask the captain and counselor to step into my office before we go interview the guy. And I'll pull up the scans that I've been working from to show them.
Okay. We'll go to the office. Your office is this middle one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the counselor's office. Over there. Yeah.
Frog sandwich. Oh, sorry.
So, Captain, the counselor asked me to run a couple of scans to see if I could determine whether or not Surgeon Mio was physiologically capable of becoming a host, and whether he originally was or not, due to the rejection of the host, he has developed scar tissue here, and here along the neural connections necessary to join successfully with a host. So whether or not originally he was physiologically capable of being joined due to the physical trauma associated with this failed joining, he now is no longer physiologically capable of being joined with a symbiote ever. Insofar as I'm aware, there is no, and GM, you can stop me if I'm wrong on this, there is currently no method to regenerate this type of scar tissue along the Trill neural pathways. And although I'm sure somebody's working on it, we're a long way from being able to repair this kind of damage. I have also given the patient a very mild medication, so hopefully counselor will be a bit calmer than when you spoke with him earlier. However, I'm also going to be prepared with a full-on sedative should this conversation unduly upset him. In which case, I'm counting on both of you to respect my medical advice and end the interview if I believe it becomes necessary in the patient's best medical interests. And I kind of look back and forth between the two of them, particularly at the captain.
Of course, Doctor, I will refer to your judgment on that matter.
And Captain, be aware that the patient is confused. He seems to think that the symbiote should still be in him, that the joining process was going successfully, and he seemed quite upset when I told him that, and unwilling to believe when I told him that the host, that his body and the symbiote both rejected the attempt at joining.
He most definitely is going through some post-traumatic syndrome and is incredibly sensitive. I think if he's going to give you a good statement and give you good information, Captain, it would be my recommendation that we are very sensitive to his feelings, his political views, even though we don't share them. I think to push on political views or to even mention that, we're even trying to save his life, I would think that'd be a last resort. Someone like that might be suicidal. He might prefer dying, she says, over actually giving a statement. And I would hate for us to fall into that corner psychologically. Just so it'd be best to try to minimize politics that don't coincide with his, at least to gain some information.
Although, due respect, Counselor, the man is a kidnapper and a child abuser, so...
She says true. She says, but we're trying to save his life.
If he'll let us.
It would be very easy for us to let him down.
So that's all the information I have that I think, Captain.
But he is kind enough to answer details of his operation, correct?
Yes, Captain. Should he choose to? Would you like me to be in the room with you, or just
I would
wait?
like both of you to be in the room with me.
Of course. All right, if you'll both come this way. Let's go to the ICU.
ICU. You stepped into Mordor.
And you guys entered the ICU, and he seems a lot calmer than he was earlier. Still has a few tears running down his cheeks.
Serja, is it?
And he just nods.
I am Captain Prax, the commanding officer of the USS Monarch, the ship that you're currently on board with.
Where's my symbiote, Captain?
The symbiote is currently back in the, should be at this point in time, in the pools on Trillius Prime.
I feel so empty.
The counselor will kind of hold her stomach a little bit.
I know it is a lot to take in right now. I just have a few questions for you. If you feel up to it.
Do you know what it feels like, Captain? To feel like you're missing something from your life?
Oh, You're asking Prax that.
I love it. Ah, so deep.
No, I have never felt that before.
You should count yourself lucky then.
Oh, how so?
I just feel nothing anymore. With my symbiote, I felt like I could do anything, take on anything. And now, and he stops with that sentence.
Blackwell will keep an eye on the biobed readings.
Keep in mind, though the symbiote might give you a sense of confidence in yourself, it doesn't defeat who you are. The symbiote was never joined before, so you would have been its first imprint. And I assure you, the first time when a symbiote is joined with its first host, the feeling of confidence, yet you do not gain some of the advantage that the senior symbiotes or senior host will have. It is much different being joined with an older symbiote than when you're firstly joined, when a host is newly joined with a newer symbiote.
I
But in a
had
way,
everything I wanted, Captain. Everything. That symbiote was everything. And although we were joined for only a short time, I did feel us become one entity. And now that's gone.
Perhaps that feeling might live on within the symbiote. Perhaps that will be a good memory for you both that you can hold on to.
If only it were that simple. I felt like a part of me went with that symbiote. Something I can never get back.
Counselor wipe a tear from her eye.
that may never be possible again. You are aware of what you did, right?
I joined with a symbiote.
Well, technically, you kidnapped a child and forcibly and forced the joining upon it. At least that's how your government sees it.
Oh, the symbiosis commission. What a joke.
You are aware that only a certain percentage of the population can be joined.
So you say. But I believe everyone is capable of being joined.
Well, it doesn't matter what you believe. The medical science is clear.
You look at the doctor.
Not
Back at the
every
patient.
Trill is able to be joined with a symbiote. That's just the physiological facts.
In fact,
was-
there's another individual aboard the ship that I believe was in the initiate program that was not accepted. Perhaps you'd like to talk with her. Why she wasn't accepted to be joined.
It was working. The joining was working until you interfered.
I'm sorry, son, but the joining was going very, very badly. The symbiote was rejecting you, and your body was rejecting the symbiote. And believe me, you have the neurological scars to prove it.
And he'll just shake his head and close his eyes. In the way like someone wants to stop hearing this.
The pain you were experiencing, the sweat and the cramping, are not what happens in successful joining. They are the first symptoms of an unsuccessful joining. And have you managed to think about or wonder where your 3 companions were? Well, I can tell you, they're dead. Because despite every single effort that I and my team could exert, their joinings had also failed and had progressed to the stage where saving their lives was a near impossibility.
You're wrong. The joining was working. It only failed once you removed us from our symbiote.
You can believe what you want, but the facts are a different matter. None of your joinings was successful. It cost your 3 companions their lives, and it cost us a juvenile symbiote its life. Fortunately, I managed to save the other 3 and you.
What Dr. Blackwell is telling you is the truth. I assure you of that. Whether or not you believe that, that is entirely your choice.
Counselor says, I asked the doctor to look into whether or not you could be joined with a Trill in the future, and the prognosis was not good.
And he'll just close his eyes at that statement.
It may not be possible, but now, she says, but in the future, she says, laws may change, medical breakthroughs may be made. She kind of gets closer to him. Hopefully, we all see a day, she says, when this sort of issue doesn't occur. When this can't happen to a symbiote or to an individual such as yourself.
And I just hope Trill can see a day where the people get to decide who gets a symbiote and who does it, and not some commission that decides who gets to be joined based on personal wealth and family connections.
It's
She
actually
nods her-
not. That is actually incorrect.
She puts her hand up towards the captain and nods her head to him. Tries to get closer. She says, they need to know. She says, what you did. She says, they need to know
Counselor, see me outside.
She steps out the door.
Counselor,
look
do
at it.
not give that man false hope.
I'm not giving that man false hope.
You are giving him false hope. Counselor, I don't think you're aware of the issue with the Symbiosis Commission and the Trill people.
You have to get information from him, right?
But Counselor,
You want him to share his
you're
story,
deceiving
right?
him.
Not deceiving him. She says, this information will go to the Federation Council. They'll learn his story and everything that you learn from him. This is the very basis for his asylum. His very path he took, even though we don't agree with it, even though we don't share his beliefs, will help us to understand why he did this. What
This
he
is
did.
not about him sharing his beliefs, Doctor. I need to know what he knows about the Nausicaans.
Just the only way you're going to get to that information, in my professional opinion, she says, is if you open up to him. At least a little bit to hear his story. She says, you may not care for those beliefs. She says, the Federation may not care for those beliefs. But this man doesn't like them. He doesn't like the Commission. And if he's going to speak to you about what his journey, his travels were, she says, you're going to have to share some of that, even though it's a very hard experience. She kind of wipes her eye a little bit. What does it hurt for him to tell his story to you? And then you can get information from that. It will certainly help him in his recovery psychologically.
But you're leading him down a dangerous path, Counselor. And a dangerous path for the Trill.
Dangerous path, Captain?
Not
I don't
every,
understand.
Their political ideas is to ensure that every Trill is joined. That's impossible.
She says, I understand that, she says. We both understand that, but that's not for us to decide. That's for the Federation to decide.
No, it's for the Trill people to decide, Doctor, not just the Federation.
She says, them too, she says. You wanted to get information from him. This is, I think, the best way to get information from him. Let him share his story. We may not like it, she says, but we'll understand his motives, and through understanding his motives, we may understand what he actually did, talking to the Nausicaans and his path he took. He's 2 seconds from shutting off from you, Captain. He doesn't want to talk to us. That's your in. That's your edge, she says, to learn the truth.
This is a very dangerous path, Counselor, and by filling him with the information, or filling him with false hopes, is going to be more detrimental, I feel, to him.
What's false hopes about him telling us what he actually did? We want to learn the truth, she says.
Okay, real quick, out of game. So, the way you were role playing it, it really seemed like you were just giving the guy this mental image that he could be rejoined, which is technically impossible, as far as we know.
I literally told him that it can happen. I literally told him, and agreed with the two of you in the room. I literally said that.
Well, but then you went on kind of about, maybe sometime, that in your attempt to kind of give him hope, you made it sound like, yeah, but
right. The reason I'm doing that is because this guy doesn't like us. He doesn't have to open up to us, and the truth is in the future, who knows what could happen in the future. That's not false hope to hope that this never happens to him or the Trill symbiote again. That maybe there is, the council maybe sees something different. I mean, he's going to think that no matter what I say. Like, he already thinks that. I'm just giving the captain an opportunity to get closer to the guy, not shut down from him. That's where I'm going with it. I mean, I guess you could see that as false hope, but
Yeah,
No
well,
way,
I
I
mean,
guess.
he's never going to be allowed to be joined.
Yeah, he's never going to be allowed to join, but that's the politics of it. I'm just trying to get this guy to be able to talk to the captain without just shutting down and going, I just don't want to talk to you. Because what reason does he have to talk to the captain if the captain's going to be like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong?
I never said he was wrong.
I know, I'm just saying. That's why I was trying to keep it from getting into a political discussion with him.
But I think politics and crime are part of it.
Oh, for sure. Sure, this guy should go to jail. He should pay for his crimes. But he might not be willing to give you any information. He might be willing to die as a martyr, more so, rather than tell you how he did what he did. Like,
I'm
what's in it
also
for him?
worried about your fueling that, though, the way you're talking to him. I'm trying to avoid the whole joint subject altogether. Even though that's on his forefront of the mind.
She says then we can talk to him about the how and about moving away from the actual subject of the trill being joined and more towards the how and maybe some why can help get you more of how. That's what I'm moving towards, or that was what I was trying to move towards, Captain.
Be careful about your comments, counselor. Prax walks back in. My apologies. You are aware that you did commit a crime, is that correct?
As you say.
You did kidnap a symbiote. I'm not here to about your political or how you wish to engage in social change. However, what I do care about is how you obtain sensitive information as well as your dealings with the Gnosticans. If you're willing to provide a statement, I can offer some help and through the Federation Council. Otherwise, I will be forced to hand you over to the Trill government.
Can I get a roll, emotionally and empathy wise, through my Bayes' ability to see how he's gonna how he's taking in that ultimatum? Did I speak? I don't know if I spoke. Oh, there it is. Oh, thanks.
Our group is much larger than 4 individuals, Captain. There is a revolution brewing on Trill against the very foundations that have lied to us for millennia. We are in all parts of society, Captain. The rich, the poor, those that have been turned away from your precious symbiosis commitment.
I see.
This was nothing more than an attempt to prove that what the Symbiosis Commission is saying to people is a lie.
Unfortunately, that very proof is the exact opposite of what happened that you so desired. You are aware of this.
We'll see, Captain. Because where I'm sitting, it was working until you interfered.
The doctor here intervened to save your life and the lives of 4 symbiotes, which in fact cost the life of one of the symbiotes. The doctor was unable to save him.
History will view us very differently, Captain.
Can I do a cold read on the guy? Like, is he just... He's pretty much set in his ways? Like, insight check here. Try to read the guy on, like, if he's telling me the truth on that there's more people at work, that his mind is set on this ideology.
Give me a difficulty 3.
Is this command insight?
Yeah.
Say difficulty 3.
Yep.
I don't think I have a focus for this. I don't think composure would count, or deception, or persuasion.
Nope.
Alright. I think I'm going to spend my determination, compassion through understanding.
Sure.
And there's 3.
I believe that answers the question.
Yeah, just trying to figure out how, because I have the cold reading talent, because I do get a kind of a bonus momentum to obtain the any additional information. Just trying to
Send
figure
it to
out.
me via private message.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something real quick.
He's got all these scars all over him.
Now they were supposed to be Trill.
They look good. You're that's probably makes more sense. Sorry, remember we went to something different. He's got his Trill spots.
He's a more abstract sort of Trill.
Is this anything to do with Council Member Hun? By any chance?
So here's the question I have to have. Would that person still be on the council 6-7 years later?
Maybe not. It just depends if they got reelected.
Because remember, we are
Yeah, we
you
are
know,
several.
we are
Yeah.
years.
It'd be
Does
former.
anyone know how much a term is?
I don't think
10
it
years,
ever
maybe?
stated.
It's for the life of the symbiote. The symbiotes stay on
Well,
the council according to, well, this is according to the book. It's the oh, let me find it.
Could be like a judicial thing.
Yeah, there it is. Mediation halls.
well, he's not part of the Symbiosis Commission. The commission's for life.
Yeah, he's part of the
The Trill Council.
yeah, the ruling government, which is called the Supreme something or other.
So would he? So is this the head of Trill, or is he
Hold
the
on.
Trill representative in the Federation Council?
No, it's the Eternal Council, which is comprised, I'm reading from the book now, of one Trill from each continent governs Trill. Below the Eternal Council are smaller councils linked to each country. So we're talking about the Trill planetary government. To enter the Eternal Council, a Trill takes on the symbiont of a council member who has passed away. Elections on which Trill should get the council symbiote are held once a council member reaches the end of their life. At that time, only people who have gone through the necessary screening may run for their seat, and only if they are not joined to the symbiont already. It's a great sacrifice to wait with the joining for so many years, and therefore not many Trill are willing to do it. Once the council member is elected and the old one passed away, the symbiont is passed to the new council member. So part of the deal with Hun was the unexpectedness of it, and he hadn't gone through
Right.
the final test.
So
So
basically,
it's
what's
for life.
happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what's happening here? Way to throw in a curveball, Blackwell.
Hey, wasn't me. It was Modifius.
Obviously, this mission was made before this. So let me think.
Well, you did say like wealthy and government
Yeah.
leaders, so that's why.
Yep.
He said, I was like, wait a minute.
because now there's
There could be a
people on my side now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Hun's probably the acceptable kind of political face of it. It's probably, not to draw a direct parallel, but in the old days, Sinn Fein versus
Ooh,
IRA.
actually, I think I got the response. He just smiles.
Dun dun dun.
And I think with that, ladies and gentlemen, will be the end of whatever the hell I called this episode.
Succor.